Well, good morning. Saturday, about 7:30 a.m. We're gonna get ripping and tearing on this 2008 Silverado that's got the frame issue, and I've got the heat shield off of the gas tank already, and the gas tank will be the next thing that comes down. Kind of doing a little preliminary work, if you will, to try to get set up to get this frame repair done. But you've seen kind of this side of the frame here. I can show you the back side a little better. Get this light out of the way. Every time I set this other light up, it does nothing but blind you. Yeah, you can kind of see what's going on here. So the gas tank's got to come down, and then we can use the sleeve kit and do our repair, and it just fits right over this frame and you weld it to it. I'll kind of show you what it looks like. I actually bought more than what I needed to, but I wanted the extra protection. These in the box are for the passenger side, which we don't have to do. So this, turn the light on here. This starts to go up the wheel arch. So this is your flat spot here going towards the front. This comes up the wheel arch, and it's got these cutouts kind of already set up in it. So you can finish zipping these and pull this piece out. And this one here I think is like one of the body mounts. And this one might be like the e-brake cable bracket. And this one is a bracket up higher over the wheel well. And then this is the part that goes under the cab. This is the front. Nope, sorry, this is the front. That's the rear. And you can see here we've got this great big cutout clear over to here. This is for the inside. There's a big brace right there, like a cross member. So it'll go around that. And this side here is for the body mount. Hopefully you can see that. We did get a little shipping damage. Kind of bent, and this is folded up, but we can hopefully fix that, hammer that back out. But anyway, yeah, this is the frame repair. You slide these up over the frame and weld it into the good portion of the frame, thus replacing the frame without cutting the frame out, I guess, if you want to think about it that way. So anywho, that's what we're going to do today, and hopefully it goes well. Here you can see the spring shackle. There's a cutout for that. And then this mount up here, that's what that kind of ear is set up for. And then it might not have this cut out for this parking brake cable. I might have to cut that out. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to dig into it. So let's do it. All right, well, I'm not going to record everything that I do here. I'm just trying to get to the nuts and bolts of her, if you will. But we got our evap canister unhooked here. Got these guys off. Fuel line up here. That's disconnected. Pouring fuel everywhere. There's a bracket right here. And this slides out of the evap canister, and then you can pull this whole unit down. So we're going to do that. And then there's 2 bolts for the gas tank straps. There's like a half a tank of gas in this thing, so I'm going to use the tranny jack to support that, to pull it down, and we're going to get that out of the way, and then we can really get a good look on what we got to do for this frame repair. There's going to be probably all kinds of stuff that needs to get moved off the frame, and you know, all that fun crap. All right, both of our straps are unhooked. Take note, that one, I don't know what it was hanging on by, but not much. Yeah, it just broke. So, duly noted on that. We'll have to get ourselves a new strap. And I believe, I don't know, can you guys see? Is there a nut inside there somewhere? For the top side of this bolt here? I don't know, it's too high in the air, I can't see. the tanks out. If you didn't catch it, this got hooked on the rust on the floor and dropped the tank. Don't think it cracked it. Wasn't a very far fall. She'll be all right. There she is. Now let's get a good eye on this frame. Yeah, she's luckily we're gonna be welding up in here. Good and solid. Not so solid. Good and solid. Not so solid. You know what I mean? Yep. But pardon me. We're gonna put new frame. Jeepers. All the way up to here, I think. Or maybe farther. I wonder if I have this piece. I might have this piece. She's getting a little rotty. Let me look. I think I've got one back here. If it's the same. Just adds a bunch more work. I bet it's the same. All right, well, turns out I do have that piece in question because I had the rear one right here fail on my 2002. And these are all basically the same. Here's your strap bolts for your gas tank. Hooks in here for your shock, but we don't have that because we've got these, I don't know, traction bars that relocated it to the back instead of coming up to the front over here. So we do have one. I guess I'll be cutting that out too. Might as well. We're already here. You gotta have the gas tank out to do it. Son of a gun. All right, well, status update. This side's cut out. I know this looks really crude, but it's kind of hard to cut round with a straight cutoff wheel. Anywho, these come with these brackets or these plates. So there'll be a big plate over the outside that covers all that up, and you weld it all to the outside. So this side's cut out. I gotta go over there and cut that side out. And then we'll start getting this new one fit up. All right, that side is now also cut out. Sorry about that flashing light over there. This side's cut out. The new piece is ready to go in. Whew, what time did we start this morning? 7:30? It's already 10:30. Haven't even started on what we came down here to do. I'm sweating bullets. It's gonna be 80 some degrees today. It's gonna be a great day. But we had a blizzard on Monday, so the roads have salt all over them. It was all cleaned up until this snow came in Monday. Now it's all salted again. No hot rods coming out today. All right, well, everything's prepped. All the brackets are cleaned up. Frame's cleaned up for the brackets. We're gonna start tacking this thing in and get it set so we can finally move on to that. Sorry I'm not recording a ton of this, but this wasn't the original intent. It's just bonus footage at this point. But you know, we're 5 hours into it. Could have made an entire video out of it, but here we are. So I left this bolt in here just so we can kind of clock this, you know, where you're straight up and down when I tack the tube to the plate. I'm going to tack the plate first to the frame, and then once I get that set, I can lift this tube up and tack the tube to the plate, and then it should be in all right shape. All right, we welded down this side here. We've got a clamp on this just to make sure that this tube is pulled all the way forward and this back plate is as flush as we can get it, and this front plate is nice and tight against the frame as well. So we're gonna weld a little bit along this bottom edge here, kind of get this set, And then we'll also get this tube welded to the plate now that everything's pulled where you want it to be. And then that we'll have the other side set as well. And we pretty much have that right where we want that to be. You can make minor adjustments to that. That looks pretty close with my eyeball anyways. What do you guys think? Need to turn a little bit more? What do you think of that? Doesn't look too bad. All right, well, this is welded up. Doesn't look very good over here because I did a really shitty job prepping the steel. You know, on that tab, everything else is good. I'll hit the top side. I probably won't full weld the top. Depends how well I can get to it. But, I mean, that's not going anywhere for, you know, forever. I can run a bead of silicone or something if I'm worried about moisture getting in there. And now we have the clamp back on so that we can have this plate nice and flush here. And we'll go ahead and start welding this plate, and then we'll jump over here to the other side. We've got this stuff all prepped over here. There we go. The plate was stuck. This guy actually sets like this. We'll get that welded up, get it welded to the tube, hit that back side, and this will be done finally. Good Lord. What a delay of game that was. All right, well, this is all welded in, complete. It turned out just fine. It is now 4 o'clock on a Saturday, and I'm done. I'm gonna call it quits for the day. I'm gonna hose this down a little bit, put a little undercoat on it to protect on it. That sounds pretty empty. Have to get a new one out. But yeah, that'll be it for the day. Hopefully be back down here tomorrow to continue on. Well, good morning. It's Sunday. We're back down here in the shop trying to figure out how to figure out what we're trying to figure out. And basically it's been just a lot of failing so far today. Trying to kind of get a little bit set up here before we started recording, and boy, I tell you what. Anyway, let me show you what's going on here. So this e-brake cable bracket here is actually not included on this cutout. So we got to either cut that bracket off this frame and weld it onto this frame, or cut this out and weld this around the bracket. I'd rather just cut the bracket off, use this full steel, and weld the bracket back to this. This cutout for this shackle here is fine, and that is right here. It comes down here, and wraps around the bottom, because this kind of wraps around the bottom, as you can see there. And then that brings us to this cutout here, this little one of the whoop-de-doo. Yeah, that's not right for the body mount here. This is like 5 inches wide, and that's like 3. So we're gonna have to measure and do some extra cutting there. Also, if you didn't notice, these traction bars run right underneath the frame. So this has to come down. So I was gonna take that front bolt out and swivel this whole thing down to get it out of the way, to get our frame pieces up in here. However, it had other ideas of its own. It broke the end of the bolt off, and the bolt is seized inside the steel sleeve that runs through. Sorry, that light's blinding the shit out of you guys. Runs through that steel sleeve inside that little trunnion, or whatever you want to call it there. So now we got to go back up to the house, get the air hammer, and hope that that thing knocks it out of there. I've been torching it. Everything else, no luck. E-brake cables are hanging, obviously. There was a hold down for those bolted right here. This little guy, there's no provision for that. There's no provisions for any of the harness hold downs So we're gonna have a bunch of little holes to drill. We gotta drill these holes out. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. But anyway, I mean, at least that cross brace is done and in. So I'm gonna run to the house, grab the air hammer, and see if we can't get that bolt knocked out of there, and then carry on from there. Also, I took all my insulation down because it's starting to get nice out. It was 80 degrees yesterday. It's like 55 and windy today. If you're not happy with today's weather, wait 10 minutes here in Iowa and you'll get a whole new deal. All right, status update. We had no luck up there with the air hammer, heat, any of the stuff. It's it's a lost cause. So we're back here now. We've got the nut off. And the bolt is also seized back here. This is the importance of, like, when you put these bolts through a rubber bushing that's got a steel sleeve in it, put anti-seize on the bolt before you put it in here, because this is what happens. They seize up. I've been using a big, like, 5-pound hammer on the nut so I don't screw the bolt up. That's not moving. The air hammer's not moving it. I can spin it. I can grab it here with the ratchet and turn it, but it's seized into the sleeve. I think the whole sleeve is turning inside the rubber bushing. So yeah, I'm not really sure where we go from here. I have to get these things down to get that frame fixed. So yeah, we're just gonna keep working at it and try to, oh, that looks nice, doesn't it? I don't know, try to figure something out with this. Yeah, most of you guys won't have this issue because you don't have these, most likely. And if you do, you better hope they anti-seize the bolts before they put them through these sleeves. All right, folks, well, the only option I had was to get a grinding wheel in there and cut that bolt off on both sides. Hopefully I can get it out of that bushing. I have no idea if I will or not. Maybe I can find a different bushing to press in there or something. I'm not really sure what we're gonna do, but I had to get this down. Now we can get to the frame. That just burned half the day. Not really, but it feels like it. There. Now you can, you know, whoop, with your stuff. All right, well, so as you can see, these two cutouts here will slide up behind this shackle. This thing here is not even close to what it's kind of supposed to be. And we've got this thing, well, set close-ish. We're just gonna put a yellow mark there. That's where that's gonna need to be. And like I said, I think we'll cut this bracket off of this frame and just weld it to this frame and go about it that way. It does need to shift just a little bit here. Let's see if I can wiggle it just a little bit here without that looks pretty close there. Yeah, I like that. I guess we, whoops. Everything loves to fall off of this tranny jack. I'm gonna look at the back side here. I think there's some more brackets back here. Oh, just a rough eyeball. All right, well, pardon the noise. We got our pieces cut out, and for this here, I just cut like an inch wide slot. And actually, we may end up taking this piece that goes in here that I cut out and welding it back in just to fill in this space with strength. But we're just kind of working on getting it slid up here. We're hitting on something. Hitting on the new bracket. Let me show you. There we go, compressor's done. We're hitting on our bracket back here for the cross tube that I welded in. So what we'll do is we'll make a yellow line. And we'll just cut it right along that bottom edge right there. Whoop. That way when we slide her up, we don't hit that. And we know the frame's good there anyway, so we're not too worried about that. So let me pull this back down. We'll snip off that part. And then as you can see, like I was saying back here, it does give you a cutout, just this little tiny guy. Well, that ain't gonna do us a whole lot of anything. Because, I mean, you can see how much farther this has to go up. Well, by the time we get into that, I mean, it's just not gonna work. So I kind of just roughly traced. I guess it's changed now a little bit. And this side can come right over here. I don't know how far down that's gonna have to come. Probably down something like that. Running out of juice. I don't know. Something like that. Because you can see we're hitting there already as well. So we're hitting there and here. So let's go ahead and well, actually, you know what? Let me get out a measuring tape. Okie dokie, let's check our fit here. See if maybe we did okay. All right. It's on a lot farther than it was the last time. What do we got back here? I can't see. Raise the seat. I can't reach the pedals. Lower the seat. This all looks good. Back there. Aha, right there. So we need to take a 1/4 inch off of this piece right here. We're just a little too tight to that side, and it's pushing us over too far. So let me zip that off quick, and we'll try it again. All right, let's give her a shot. A lot of trial and error with this stuff here. Oh, there's no way. Oh, now it's this other piece. Well, we're not going to take it off that. We're going to cut it off this up here. Lord. I mean, the cutouts on this stuff are close, but not close enough, I guess. Huh. Well, we'll get there sometime. Just got to keep on working it. I am going to put new steel back on this. I've got these strips that I cut off that I can put back in there because you can see the hole right there. We need to make sure that that's covered and fixed. All right, Meow. Here we go again. Wish us luck. Oh, what are we stuck on now? Oh. Oops. Okay. Now we can work on this part. I did cut that down right here. I just didn't finish it because I wasn't exactly sure how far that needed to go down. So let's just, is that where we want it? Let's just cut this. Like that. Is that wide enough for the, get over the outside of the weld? All right. Boy, a lot of modification for a panel that's supposed to be plug and play. Tell you what. Okay, 18th time's the charm. Okay, this needs to come down just a little, probably down to that white line. How are we looking on the back? Let's have a look. Ouch. Plenty of room there. I think we're golden back here. I think once this little notch here is tweaked, that should slip the rest of the way up. I do believe. No, I'm gonna have to shorten this, shorten that leg too. Just cut the tip off of that. Just the tip. Just for a second. All right, there she is. There's that piece. We just have this little one sitting in there to cover up that bad spot down there. This is all really good steel here, so I might not put that piece back in there. Let me see. Here's my light. That's all fit decent in there. The cutout along the bottom of that's good. The rest of this up is good and butted up right to our repair we did yesterday. So there you go. There's the new frame for that portion. Obviously you got to full weld it all in, and then our next piece is going to come up to here, so this whole chunk here will be new, thus leaving, you know, none of this crap all the way over. Yeah, so we'll have to screw with all these lines on this back side and this bracket that there's no cutout for. But we'll make it. We'll get her. That's all I'm doing for today. We'll see probably tomorrow after work. It's Sunday. I'm gonna go enjoy a little bit of the weekend. All right, well, here's a progress update. We've got the frame all cleaned up, our new piece cleaned up, and we are ready to fit this baby up. It's all cleaned up on the inside as well, with the exception of this side, because it's going to be really close, but I'm thinking that that should butt up at least to it, I hope. But there's that. It's all cleaned up. ready to go. Should be pretty decent shape here, I believe. All right, well, we're gonna try to get a bead in here. We're gonna kind of start right here. Make sure that's jammed all the way up. It's gonna be kind of an awkward place to get to, but we're gonna give her a whirl here. It's burning in pretty good. Not an easy place to see. It's not bad. Not bad at all. I do have a piece to put in there to fill in that little corner. Let me get that higher spot up here. Oh. I've got this thing set up on kill mode, so bear with it. That's a pretty solid weld. She ain't going nowhere, folks. She ain't going nowhere. I'm just trying to get this, you know, set up in a good spot here to where, you know, I can hit certain good areas to get the fit up nice, and then we can finish welding it in, if you know what I mean. But really, that's all there is to it. Once you get your piece fit up, bunch of welding, get it all welded in solid to the good part of the old frame, and you know, it's supposed to be a satisfactory repair. So yeah, I like it. All right, well, I got this welded around this welded here, and I ran out of gas. So we're done for the night. Dang it. See you when I get gas. All right, well, this side's been a little tough to weld in some of these spots, but it's welded in pretty decent. This side, I'll show you the other side. We're working over here now. This side is much easier to get to, as you can tell by the weld. Looks a lot better. We do have a little bit of a gap right over here. We're gonna have to put a big old fatty. I'll try to squeeze this with a C-clamp here. I did have to squeeze it up here to get everything tight. We'll squeeze it down here too. See if we can get that sucked in a little better and get this finished out on this side. And doing pretty good. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I know it's pretty boring just you know, to have you guys watching me weld, but that's the progress that's being made. And this backside's going substantially quicker because there's no little nooks and crannies to try to jam a welding wand up into a torch. So we're just gonna keep on ripping and tearing here and see how far we can get. All right, well, let's have a look at the progress here. Gotta get the patented throat clear in there. All right, there she is. Fully welded all the way around until we couldn't because the frame's crap. But that section's done. We are now over here working on this. We've got our fuel line and return or whatever that is. I don't know what it is. Unhooked. We've got some of these little pegs or these little brackets taken off. We're gonna have to mark some spots on the frame, maybe like up high, to line it up with so we know where to drill holes back to, because we want to put these brackets back in, these hold downs. And this one here specifically has a nut that goes on the back side that you get to through the frame, and that's all going to be covered up, so we're not going to be able to get to that unless we drill a hole in the new panel on both sides and get a socket jammed through there to get that. This one here, it's just a push pin style, kind of like this one. We don't have to take this one off though. This guy here went right there. So yeah, I'm gonna keep cleaning up on this. We'll go to the other side and wire wheel that all off. We'll spray some rust proofing on it. I gotta cut this bracket off, of course. We'll get that zipped off, and then we can get that piece, start getting that piece fitted. Get that piece fitted. That's not a very good word, but you can see this is pretty scaly. We're gonna clean all that up and rust proof it. And then there's another little push pin here. I don't know if we're gonna come down that far or not. Sorry about that blinding light. So yeah, we're gonna just keep on plugging along here and try to get some of this boring crap done. Okay, well, we're in a little bit of a pickle here. I'll show you what I mean. I got our bracket cut off. This piece is now fit up, and as you can see, there's a gap between the two sections. And this is basically up where it needs to go. It could go just the tiniest bit more, but that's pretty much got everything covered that needs to be covered and welded into. And this side, well, like I told you, this piece is supposed to be a lot longer, but because of these traction bar brackets, we couldn't make it work, so the rest of it's down there on the floor. It's supposed to come like clear up to here somewhere, but it's got the cutout for this. It had the cutout for this support back here. Obviously didn't have the one for that bracket that we cut off for the evap canister. But here's where the dilemma is. Do I slide this piece back and get it as close to this piece as I can and try to weld that together here? Or do I leave it where it's at and make a filler piece? Let me kind of stick my light somewhere here. Make a filler piece that will come down, angle into this cutout, and back down here. So it'd fill this all in and solid weld that in. Because we're thin on the frame here, you can see that. And on this side, you can see the bottom. There's a big hole in the frame. And there's a big hole right here. So that needs to be addressed, and this needs to be full welded all the way up. I don't know why they made them short and put this funky little cutout thing in it. Like it's almost supposed to be a puzzle piece put together, you know, and notched together. But then the backside of this panel would have that to notch into this panel, and it don't. So I don't know. And it's got it on the bottom too. So I'm not exactly sure. And the reason this is lower than this one is because, as you can see on this side, it's easier to see from the outside. You can see it right here. This part of the frame was thicker, like overlapped almost, so the bottom side of it comes down farther. So that's, I mean, that's normal. That's gonna be what it is. But I want to try to slide. I can slide a piece in here maybe and weld that in, and then weld this tab to it, you know, and then filler both the sides. It's going to be kind of a pain in the ass, but I mean, I kind of like where that's at. I want this as far forward as I can have it. So I think we're just going to make these panels to cover that and weld in to these halves. I think that's what we're going to do. Okay, and as you can see, I've got my holes laid out. This line here is for the bracket. This one's 2 3/4 down. This one was like 4 1/4, just for these mounts and stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and get those drilled into this. We've got this set where we want it. We knocked it all the way down as close as we could get down here where it's supposed to be from like where they had the cutouts lined up. We'll just have to make these. So no big deal. We've got a panel down here. We've got all kinds of scrap metal. You know, we can cut it out, weld it in there, be fine. Okay. That being said, let's pull this down. I'll get these holes drilled and we'll keep moving on. All right, well, we're pretty much ready to go. We got our holes drilled for our little brackets and whatnots, shit and stuff, this and that, things. And this is set. Steel's as clean as I can get it. It should weld pretty all right. I think we're gonna start probably on this side and burn at least the top and the back side all in. And then we'll flip around. We'll do the same on this side. We'll hit it here, come across the top. We'll leave this side unwelded so we can bevel it for when we make our piece to go in there. We'll bevel that too so we can get a big fatty in there. Big old fat weld. That's pretty much where we're at. It's about time to go. Full tank of gas. All right, well, we're all set up. Let's go ahead and see if we can oh, I forgot my torch. Here we go. Let's see if we can start getting this thing burned in a little bit. Hopefully I'm not blocking the camera. Probably am. I don't know. At least get a couple tacks in there. Hold it in place. I'm gonna put some tunes on, start welding. All right, that's all burned in on the outside. It's all burned in on the inside. I don't know if you guys can see it. Next step, we got to make these connectors, and basically I just cut out, used my paper, made a rub mark, and cut out a general shape. I don't know where I put it. I set it down somewhere. But yeah, that'll be the next step. Oh, right here. And check it. Flip her around. All right, well, it is Friday morning, 6 a.m. It's Good Friday, so I didn't have to work today. We've got our little shape drawn out here on this piece of scrap. We're gonna cut this out and see about getting it fit up in there. Probably gonna take a little bit of trimming and whatnot, but yeah, we're just gonna, that's where we're gonna start this morning. Left a little earlier last night, just due to some crazy weather that came through. Had to go home, make sure the dog was good, house was good, and all that stuff. So anywho, yep, I'm gonna cut this out. We'll keep on rolling. All right, well, there's our piece. Everything's beveled and it's set in there. We can run a nice fatty all the way around that, and that should be good. And then we'll move to the inside and get that one done. All right, let's see how our welding skills are today. Oh, about right there looks good. We'll throw a tack over here. hold her in place. And bring this baby in. Oh yeah. Whoops. Whoops, knocking stuff over. Like one more bead inside this one. I think that looks pretty good. Let me hit the top side once. Right up in here. All right, meow. Well, here's our next piece on the inside. You can see the little circle there. When I put this piece in, I squeezed it in. So I'm doing the same with this center piece here. It's basically flush on this side and this side. We should be able to get a nice fat weld all the way around this. And I did get that bottom chunk put in there too. So we're butt up right into there. I got a little corner I can fill right there. And then this thing will be solid as can be. I mean, I don't know what else a guy can do to make it any better, but it's going to be new metal welded to the good metal of the frame all the way back. And that's the design of the kit. So we're just rolling with it. I mean, obviously, we were supposed to come up farther, but that frame's all good. So I'm not worried about that at all. It's just this back section by the gas tank. I don't know if that's what it is, if that big shield under the gas tank traps a ton of moisture up there and that's what rots them out, or it gets piled with salt in the wintertime, or what happens, but God, I'm just covered in metal. Yeah, I don't know, but we're fixing it and it's gonna be brand new when we're done. Not quite, but good enough to put another 200,000 miles on it. Probably 10 more years of service, I bet you. I don't know if the truck will even last that long. But if you want to know why I'm doing all this work to this truck, I'll tell you, there's two reasons. Reason one, if I were to keep it and drive it, these are safety concerns. Like, this is structural stuff. And I mean, I'm not going to drive an unsafe vehicle around. Not to say that it's going to just like fall apart on the highway, but you know, have you ever seen the trucks driving around where the truck bed's like this and the cab's like this? Well, this is why. So, and number two, if I were to sell the truck, I want whoever to buy it or whoever buys it to have a safe, reliable vehicle to drive also. I'm not going to put anybody in this thing that if I won't drive it, I'm not going to make somebody else drive it. So, you know, I have the ability to do the work. It's really not that expensive, so that's why we're doing it. In case anybody wanted to know, if you're still here watching. If you are, appreciate you. Give us a subscribe and a like. Leave a comment. Those help a lot with the algorithm. But we're going to keep chugging along here. I'm going to get this little back piece here burned in. And really all there is left is to weld this bracket back on. And I believe we could probably start going back together with it, which would be awesome. This thing's been on the lift for like 3 weeks now because of work travel. Anywho, done rambling, gonna get to work. Now the only thing left to do is get this bracket here cleaned up, and we can get that thing, I have a line right here, bracket, and it sat right along the bottom edge, about like so. Should be able to get that welded back on where that's needs to go, and we'll be in good shape, I believe. All right, well, our bracket's back on where it needs to be, so that's good. And I believe it's time to start working on putting the tank in. But first, we're gonna rust proof this thing. And for that, I'm gonna use this Rust-Oleum undercoating. Rust stops rust before and after. Rubberized black. Put it in the old paint mixer here. Yep. Say that ought to do it. And we're gonna start up here on the old frame and just, you know, get it coated back up. I did blast it with the wire wheel and everything beforehand. This stuff is actually pretty nice. It works pretty well. It looks nice. It's got a really nice, kind of almost a flat, instead of like the, I don't know, like the cart or like the truck box stuff. Shut this light off because all it does is blind you when you're on the wrong side of it. And you'd almost never even know somebody was in here. She looks brand new. Let's hit this side too. Since we're at it, we'll start back here. We gotta finish getting this piece here. Just got to make sure you protect all your stuff, you know. I did wipe all this down with brake clean and stuff first, just to clean it up. All right, folks. Well, there she is. Fuel tank's back in. New frame sleeves, I guess, if you want to call them that, installed. I got to put that bolt in there yet on the hanger for the parking brake cables. But, I mean, overall, not a terrible job. However, if you're going to do it, my recommendation would be that you have a lift. A good air compressor, a lot of shop tools, angle grinders, all that kind of stuff. A good welder. It's definitely not, I wouldn't say it's easy. It's not terribly difficult, but it's very time consuming and you got to have the right tools to do it. However, if you can bring a truck back and save it, make it a reliable, safe operating unit again, I mean, why not? I think it was, I don't know, $350 for the parts. And then all the miscellaneous stuff, you know, sanding pads, cutoff wheels, welding gas, welding wire, all that kind of crap, which I had it all except for the gas. I had to go refill that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to give her a shot, I don't see why not. Go for it. You know, if you really like your truck and you want it to stick around for a while, snag them up, do the work, put the time in. It took a couple weeks for me just because a lot of travel for work. But I mean, I don't know if it's a weekend job, but you could probably get it done, you know, in a few days, a few good solid 8-hour days. But yeah, so anyway, hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate you being here. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and drop us a comment. Tell us what you think. If you're going to do this on one of your trucks, we'd be interested to know. We'll see you in the next one.